This being the first roundtable session in the 25-year history of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, and following consecutively, coming after the breakout sessions on the sports industry at NESG 23 and NESG 24. So in 3 successive economic summits, we've had sessions on the sports industry. That shows the commitment of NESG and the private sector to making sports a viable business. The 4th milestone is the establishment of a sports industry thematic group at the NESG to drive the technical work required to develop a roadmap for the reform and the repositioning of the sports sector in Nigeria as a viable business industry. And the last milestone that I'd like to mention, Honorable Minister, is the establishment of the Eminent Focal Group, EFG, which is the resource arm to drive the work of the thematic group in the development of the sports industry. And this being the pioneer NESG's effort, the pioneer EFG, to drive the development of an economic sector through engagement with the private sector. Honorable Minister, sir, we look forward to more trend-setting and record-breaking in the collaborative development of the sports industry in Nigeria, including the eventual approval of a sports industry policy document, the hosting of a sports industry investment and business summit, and follow-on roadshows to attract the needed investment for sports infrastructure development, which will enable us to harness the abundant domestic talent development opportunities, the establishment of a sports industry free trade zone to drive the manufacturing of sports equipment and merchandising in Nigeria. These envisaged milestones form the cornerstone of the NESG and the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development collaboration to ensure that we are jointly successful in driving new revenue and employment streams for the socio-economic development of Nigeria, as has been successfully done in many other countries, focusing in particular on achieving the targets set in the Nigeria Economic Summit 25, NESG 25 report, the ARGP, the African Union Agenda 2063, the United Nations SDG 2030 goals for sustainability, amongst others. Honorable Minister, sir, the board and members of the NESG thank you once more for making today and more possible. We also would like to thank the NESG Secretariat, the Tech Steering Committee, the Tech Policy Commission, the SITG, the EFG, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, and all its directors and their team that have supported the Honorable Minister in this collaborative initiative for all the commitment, the dedication, the sacrifice, and the hard work in achieving the current milestones, as we look forward to further groundbreaking milestones on interministerial collaboration for the successful development of the sports industry in Nigeria. Once again, it is my pleasure to welcome you, and we'd like to thank you for all that you are doing. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Next on the agenda, now invite our Honorable Minister for his comments. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And permit me this morning to just slide by the protocol, but let me thank the leadership of the NESG. They are present. They know themselves, the culprits. Let me thank you so much for driving this process. And let me warmly welcome my Corey back from South Africa. It's glad to see you back up again. You're a soldier, so you can't really go down. And we're sure that now that you're back, of course, you must have known that while you're away, these people did not disappoint. And that's why we're here this morning. I cannot thank the NESG Secretariat enough for the work they have done, not just in the last few weeks, but like we had in the last 3 years. What we see presently is the culmination of the efforts, consistent and very deep effort that you have made over the years. And I think that the fact that I became Minister of Youth and Sport, and one of the major core areas I wanted to look at had to do with partnership with the organized private sector. So basically, we got on the same page, and we've been able to drive this thus far. Let me also thank my directors and staff of the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development because they keyed into this process as quickly as possible. I think that we are behind time. We have really lost time, and we will gain time. It's never too late. Better late than never, they say. Are we going to face a few twists and turns, a few delays here and there? Absolutely. It's not going to be smooth sailing. But I think we are ready. We have the answers. We have the tools. And we're going to make this work. I often say that I am not about changing the narrative. I'm about changing the fundamentals of our engagement first. Then you can write a proper narrative. Very often we want to change the narrative, but then we forget to take care of the fundamentals, and then we don't go far. And I think that is what we're doing now, and the process is the action plan that have been set forth will take us forward. Let me thank presidents of federations that are here, particularly Badminton Federation. Thank you so much for your support. And I think ultimately, it's not the ministry or the government that will benefit. It is our sporting federations that will be the ultimate beneficiary of what we're doing today. And of course, by extension, our sportsmen and women, both retired and serving, and also the young ones that are coming up, generations of sportsmen and women that will come up to represent this country will benefit in what we're doing right now. So today, for me, is a historic day for sports development in Nigeria, and those of us here should be delighted to be a part of the making of this history. Prior to being assigned by Mr. President to head the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, I'd always wondered why our sports sector had defied all solutions to develop it. Even then, as an outsider in court, as a journalist, I had a fair idea of what was going on in the administration of the sports sector. What is going on in the sports sector is clearly the paucity of resources, which had made refrains like there is no money, private sector is not attracted to the sector, a commonplace assertion. But now that I am in government and from a vantage position, of course in the driver's seat, I now better appreciate the magnitude of the funding gap that has held back our sports development, particularly in the face of dwindling government resources. We are presented with a problem, but also with the opportunity to make a change. A chance for private sector participation and ownership of the business associated with sports. It is an opportunity that is demanding attention in the face of dwindling resources. It demands a review of the current situation where government views and treats sports as a social service, recreation, when in reality, it goes against what other parts of the world treat it. It is now a multi-billion naira industry, and it is about time Nigeria plugged into that industry. I've come to clearly understand that only two words will unlock opportunities from the funding problem of sports. That is disruptive thinking. Just as disruptive technology in the last 5 years has changed the way we do things. We now live in a digital world. So I got into this disruptive thinking mode thanks to the NESG collaborators. We had engagement with a group of wonderful people, committed, focused on addressing this particular issue. They are driven by passion for Nigeria. They want to see the sports industry become a viable one. I know you are called by the NESG, but then I want to, this morning, refer to you as change agents, because that is what you are. And I think one of the greatest challenges of our time as a country is how to develop new revenue sources and also look for industries that can create jobs for the mass of our youth. No other sector offers that opportunity like the sports sector. The NESG today undoubtedly is a repository of ideas and expertise that are the keys to our economic revival, not just in sports, but also sectors. And the fact that you started this journey 3 years ago. We join you today towards the emancipation of the sports sector in Nigeria. Let me state a bit on the NESG. The NESG remains an important stakeholder in the economic development of Nigeria, always providing strategic inputs to policy and helping to reshape the thinking in government. It has transformed itself into a formidable think tank that no government should and can ignore. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development is happy to be associated with the NESG. Your unique insight is in identifying sports development in Nigeria as a major development that requires business model as a solution, continues to play a key role in defining what we need to do. Apart from ICT, digital technology, sports is arguably the second largest sector with the highest potential for job creation, mass youth engagement, and economic diversification. At the NESG Interministerial Technical Session, which you spoke about on sports industry development, I recall part of the report noted, and I quote, "A private sector-driven sports industry will ensure the commitment to the required investment to deliver on the potentials of the sports industry, to add value to the Nigerian economy, whilst also assisting the government in its core objectives of social integration, economic empowerment, and youth engagement." Through words indeed. One of the challenges has always been how to engage the interest of the private sector from a business point of view, while also tapping into the business side to perform a social development function that is geared towards developing the potentials of the youth of our country. Well, we are on track to resolving this now, and I'm glad that we're partners in this process. So what are we doing here today, this morning? The report of the NESG Interministerial Technical Session on Sports Industry Development aptly captures the reasons. Nigeria as a country is yet to harness the passion of its citizenry for sports and leverage this passion to develop sports as an industry that can assist in propelling economic and social development through the SDGs. With over 200 million citizens, made of a predominantly young population, about 65%, who are between the ages of 15 and 30 years, sport offers a prospect for the Nigerian society as a whole because nothing galvanizes Nigerians more than sports. It is the only national endeavor which every Nigerian supports without thought to tribal, ethnic, regional, and political sentiments. And you can take that to the bank. Therefore, this morning, we intend to move from concept to action. And today, we are giving bite to that intention by signing the MoU with the NESG. It is one of the key pillars upon which everything else rests. As a confidence-building indicator, it signals to the private sector that government is indeed ready, and we mean business. There are key takeaways we're driving towards. The establishment of the Nigerian Sports Industry Policy, which I like to call NSIP, which will eventually culminate in the Act of the National Assembly that will spell the rules and regulation on the playing field. As a government, we believe that when we have and implement the right policies to drive social engagement and inclusion, as well as economic development, the sports industry in Nigeria is capable of harnessing the economic power of the youth through engagement in sports. Therefore, this morning, the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, on behalf of sports-loving people of this country, on behalf of our athletes, we're excited to do this morning, the signing of the MoU, and we look forward to a beautiful and mutually beneficial partnership that will achieve all the goals and objectives set forth. I thank you this morning, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, once again, for your kind words. Thank you for your support, commitment, and reassurance for backing the sports industry reform process that is private sector led and government backed. Next on the agenda is the signing of the
MoU.
collaboration MoU.
Okay. Then we can do the others later.
You have a signature page.
Yes. I will be then. You can go to
Oh, you want to witness? Let's witness. The pump set, what?
to Abuja.
Spoke with him last night.
Have this and sign that. Things like that.
No, sure, it's good.
Sure.
Okay, so
We'll
we
do that
now
after that.
start
We'll do that after that.
each page.
Oh,
No.
Finish out the pages, huh?
No. We'll do that afterwards. I think
Do that at this
we'll just
juncture.
do an exchange now.
Just exchange that.
Yeah, we'll just do an exchange.
which one?
Okay, is government given to the private sector? We'll just change.
How do you do it?
However you
We both need copies.
Yeah, we'll go to copies.
All right. We exchange first, sure. And I hold up one. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
No, we're doing it. We'll do that.
Call on
Media colleagues.
Mr. Aldomero Fox, co-chair, private sector Tex PC, to give the
Any media.
Any
Media
comments,
Any
media
questions?
questions from the media?
The one you come to.
Or they'll do it downstairs.
Who did that?
We'll do it downstairs during the opening.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can give it a lot of times.
Okay.
What I stand on already established protocol.
Each page.
Honorable Minister,
Thank you.
it was
Yeah.
Neil Armstrong when he set his foot on the moon. And he said those very immortal words.
Absolutely.
One step for man,
Giants.
a giant leap for mankind.
Absolutely.
Today is one step for NESG and the Department of Youth and Sports Development, but truly, a giant leap for sports development in Nigeria. I must say that all of us seated here are most highly privileged to be a part of this. And I must say that the opportunity to put my signature on that document is a great moment for me. I've been involved with the summit process for the better part of close to 20 years now. And I must say that in my work with the NESG, I have not encountered a minister who hit the ground running like you have done. I thank you for your commitment, for the passion, and for taking time, not just to be a part of this, but to lead this process. We need it. And as Aurea has said, driven by the private sector, but heavily backed by government, we are going to make a difference. I'm very confident of that.
Yeah. Right.
And let me thank those people in the background. When I was brought to lead this policy commission, the CEO had mentioned to me so much work that had gone down. So I want to especially commend the EFG. We have Nkechi Mekori, and that Dr. Ongus, who is indisposed to have been here with us. Obiasika is here. And the members of the various sports federations who have made out time to be here for the fantastic work that has been the build-up to this moment. It didn't happen overnight. For the last year plus, work has gone on, and my people say that good luck is when planning meets opportunity.
Right.
All the good work and planning we've done in the past year or two has met the opportunity that this minister has presented to us.
Absolutely.
And we can only thank God for this great moment.
Absolutely.
I want to thank the NESG for championing this. I want to thank my vice chairman who's taken time to be here. I want to thank the indefatigable CEO who was built for this kind of. It's not a thing for ordinary people to do. He has the back for it. And I want to thank all who have come out to make this possible. I want to thank the media who have come out to support us on this, because what we've done here will help you to amplify and take it forward. But let me also use the opportunity, because the minister here leads a team. The team from the Federal Ministry of Works and Youth Development who will be here. And I must say that I stand here and I speak on behalf of my co-chair, Mr. Adeshola, the Permanent Secretary, who, of course, from day one, we're able to partner very fluidly to make this possible. It's been a wonderful partnership. I thank you all very much, and I look forward to even greater things that this NESG, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development partnership will bring to sports in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
I want to. I forgot to introduce two of our directors here. We have the director of federations, Mrs. Oreweme. She's a veteran. And of course, the director of grassroots, Dr. Ademola Are. You know, we are political appointees, and when we move on, they have to continue. They are the institution right now, and I thank them for being here. I don't know if any of them has a few words. Please, if you want to say something.
For me, I think history is being made. I was touching my colleague that sometimes you long for it, but it's not you that gives it, it's God that brings it to bear. I want to congratulate my minister and my big sister. We have been into this for a while, but I know as a lawyer and then press and then now economic person, we have seen it metamorphose. It's my 35.5 years in the same place. And I have seen over 20-something ministers. But I have not seen one that have this positive approach that it is possible. That's what I have seen since my big boss came on board. And like us, we ask questions, where does he get this? I think it's journalism. Because sometimes when we are doing our tournaments, you know, as we treat you people, There's one other person that was cool that I saw yesterday, and we said they should not enter. And before you know it, they will be in the forefront of where we said they should not enter. So I think it is this background that God has helped us to tap, to bring sport to where we dream. I remember talking to you at the convocation of my Institute for Sports. I called her and I said, I can see some drive in my place. I can see him. You see? I said, don't give up. When we don't give up, when we believe, we were in management meeting and we told PS that it's only in Nkechi. Sir, corroborate when
Dr. Nkechi.
She said until she's paid to do doctor, but me, I was not paid. I left my doctorship to come and do some work since 2016. And I'm going back, I begged for that too, because my 3 years is lapsed and I need to go and tidy up. Sir, and maths that are on this table. Sport is driven by passion. I started playing basketball at the age of 7 because I went to a British American school. The two were flowing us between netball and basketball. The British could not retain us because they could not give us the milk that the American brought, and the coach, and the clothing. These are the 3 things that you need. As you go into this economy, there's no technique, there's no nutrition for an athlete, and there's no continuity of funding. That gem that you discover will die. This has been the story of Nigerian sport. And I want to thank my God that I have 7 months to leave service, and God brought the dream I've always prayed and asked God pray in my minister. I made good to say that this is the beginning of better things for sport.
Amen.
It's going to get bigger. It's going because now nobody can close my mouth after 7 months. Why? Because the truth has to be told. Whether it hits anybody or it does not. You remember you served with us. Stand up, please. Yes, we want to talk to people that neglect is what has ruined sport. It's not that we don't have the attitude, it's not that we don't have the, but there's continual governmental neglect. Now that government is the one now saying we should do it, and it's so new. Because our ticket has been booked to be in a festival. You know that festival now, you give us. That's the attitude. But God told us, no, we have to drive this process to the point that the children are now, like he said in his last words, is that what he said? It's not also that are beneficiary, but veterans, I can do veterans, athletics and basketball. But the real people are people that have not come. Ma, are you married? Who are the ones that have not married? They are the ones we are doing this work for. When these kids get the support and the nutrition we got in those days that kept us where we are still in, and when the politician came to remove sport from school and begin to build skyscrapers in our schools and take the facility to build houses, and then we have our best that are children. This is what Nkechi and me has always taught. And to see it become an MoU between us today, I can dance all the way and get involved in whatever I want to do. Minister, sir, and all the economic people, thank you.